Hello there, Michael Trione from Insurance Agency Automation Associates, your AMS360 Consulting and Training Source. Here with a new video on AMS360 tools. Today we're going to talk about a report called a Customer Aged AR report. And what a Customer Aged AR report, or Accounts Receivable report, will show you for agency bill items the amounts that are unpaid or open invoices. Now there's a couple other things it'll show you, but that's what we're going to talk about today. There's two versions of it. There's the Classic Reports version and the My Agency Reports version. We're going to start with the Classic Reports version. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom left and say Toolbar, Classic Reports, and then I'm going to scroll down to Customer Aged AR, or you can use the filtering. I tend to scroll down Customer Aged AR, and then there's two in this particular version. Customer Invoice Monthly, it doesn't matter. They both take me to the same place. I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to leave everything alone, but just in case something changed, I want it to be current date. I want to show all ages based on invoicing, based on invoice date, the day you invoiced it, or the effective date. And I want to include credit balances, and I want it for all customers. Instead of running it as a classic or a print preview or a PDF view, I'm going to run it as a CSV or Excel report. So File, Create CSV. First thing I'm going to do is be sure to save this in Excel format. So I'll come up here and then I'll give it a name, and then I'll check the format. And right now it's already in Excel format because this is a sample I got, and say Excel workbook, and hit save. I'm going to cancel that because I don't want it to do that. I've already formatted my top row and made it fixed and bold. So bold we know how to do, and to get it fixed I go to View and I say Freeze Panes, Freeze Top Row. So I said fixed, Freeze Top Row. Okay. I have hidden some information here, customer name and all that, and some other stuff, because this is real data. It's a little old, as you'll see from some of the dates here, but I selected one that had a lot of entries so we could show a couple different things. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to find something in invoice, okay, and actually policy number. I've already done it, so I'll do it over again. So I come over to this one, I look for on accounts. On account means there's money on account. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'll go up to that row and I'll do a Control F, find on page, and hit replace. And I'm going to type that on account in both columns, and then I'm going to format what I want to change it to be, and I use the amber. Okay, and then I say OK, and it'll tell me how many it replaces and all that. And then I'm going to say replace all, and it says it made 347. Now this is a large data selection, so that's why it's so many. The reason I'm doing that before I do anything else is I want it to be distinguished that these are items that I need to move or need to deal with. This is money that's on account, not on this particular invoice, not on a particular policy. So again, that was under policy number, column G, if you haven't deleted any rows. So the next thing I'm going to do some subtotaling. Subtotaling, if you haven't used it, is a way to find certain things and organize them and collapse it and group things together. So I'm on my home ribbon. I'm going to change over to my data ribbon. It doesn't matter where I'm at on the screen. I'm going to say subtotal, and it says each change of customer name, because that's the first. I want it to be account number. Account number is unique. Customer name, some agencies and commercial lines might have a separate account for commercial line policies and a separate account for benefits policies, and sometimes surety. So I don't want to go off the name. I want to do it by account number because that's a unique value. And then I want it to sum, not count. And I don't want it to be by a GL date or GL group. I want it to be by balance. There it is. So by balance. I'll leave everything else alone, and I say OK. Now what you're going to see over here on the left after it does it is it gives us a 1, 2, 3. It's still expanded. It's actually added an additional row for the totals, but I'm going to click the 2 over here and it collapses it. So right away I want you to notice that that coding I did for on account, this is why I did it. This tells me that I have on account money over here that I need to deal with. Okay, I can do a couple other things. Now, I notice I have a 0. That means there's offsetting items. There's an invoice and a payment, or an invoice of the charge and an invoice of the credit. I need to deal with those. So if I wanted to see the detail on that, that's row 49. I hit the plus sign there and I see it. There's the $100 balance in, then $100 out. That needs to be dealt with. We'll talk about why in a few minutes. Well, we'll talk about why now. If I don't clear those balances, there's a couple things that happen. When I go into the customer, and I'm not going to go into these customers here because not the type of thing I want to do today, it'll show me a zero balance on the account, but it had the 2 items. When I go to pay the company, remember these are agency bill items. When I go to pay the company, and if I select to pull all item paid in full, this item will not be pulled because it's not paid in full. It runs off of the invoice number. So that's what I got to be sure to do and worry about. Okay. Now so what I want to do is I want to select this column. This is a long row of data. I apologize. I could have picked a shorter one, but this, as you can see, has a lot of interesting things in it, and that's why I picked it. Give me a second to get down to the bottom. What I want to do is select the range. If I don't select the range, if I just select the column on this, I get extra stuff, which is okay. So I'm going to select the range. Again, it's a little long here. Yours shouldn't be this long, hopefully. And I'm going to go now back to my home ribbon and say conditional formatting. And I'm going to call it, I do new rule. So format all cells based on their values. Okay. Format only cell to contain. Format only top or bottom, on down there. So I'm going to tell it to do this, where the cell value is equal to 0. And I'm going to say format that, and I got to pick a color. So I'm going to go with a fill over here. I'll pick a color. I like pink in this one, so I'll pick pink and say OK. Then I'll say OK again. Then I say OK again. A lot of OKs there, but it is what it is. And then what it's going to do is where it finds that 0 value. So by doing that conditional formatting, we're going to do conditional formatting several times here. By using that conditional formatting, it's allowing me to easily see through this whole long stack of data where my zeros are. So I can focus on those and get those cleaned up. I got it marked my range. I'm going to do conditional formatting. I'm going to do new rule. Now I'm going to do a couple different rules here, okay? But it's going to be the same thing each time. So formats only that contain, cell value is between. Okay, so that's what I want. Format only cells contain, cell value between, and I'm going to say what. So this one's going to be that I want. I want to look at a bunch of different things. So I want to look at charges here. So I'm going to say it's between 1 and 99999. I'm going to put a lot of it. Now, I could have made this a lot shorter. I'm just trying to give you some varieties here. Whatever the maximum dollar amount you might think. So if you had some larger accounts, this is going to get it. So I'm going to go format here. I'm going to pick my color. I'm going to pick, again, I'm going to go over here and get my custom colors here. A little bit of purple. I'm going to say OK. Your color choices are yours. Don't worry about them. Say OK. And there it's marked everything that's above $1. Now, I'm going to do conditional formatting again. New rule. I'm going to say the same thing. Format only between, cell values in between. Now I do have not between equal to and all that, so I did it between. And this time I'm going to tell it is, let me make it back to there. Cell value is less than 1. I'm going to say cell value is less than 1. I'm going to format it again, come up with the color that I want. And this one I'll pick this little tan color. Say OK, say OK, and now I'm going to go look and see if I got any. So there's my $50 credit. It came in that color. If you're not sure what formatting you did, come up here and say Manage Rules, and you'll see the 3 I got. Less than $1, greater $1 and whatever, and then where there's 0. So those are the 3 that I have, and those are the 3 that I want. So I'm going to say OK or close. I'll just say close. So then I can go through these and look. Now, we already talked about the $100 or the credits. I got to go in there. And again, if I push the plus sign over here, I can see this is a $100 charge. So that's a credit I need to deal with. Do I do something with it? Now, there's one other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to hit the 3 over here, and I'm going to come over here to invoice age. Okay, now I'm going to go down the bottom of my range and catch it, and invoice range. Okay, so let's talk about what that is. I want to be able to look at a few different things here. Some of those dollar values, now most of these are pretty small. Let's say your carriers want you to pay within 45 days. Maybe it's 60. something like that. So I need to look at this invoice age. Now again, I got some large data set here, got some really weird numbers like 552 days. So I might use conditional formatting here to tell me some more stuff. New rule, I'm going to bring it, and I'm going to say only sell to contain, and I'm going to do the same thing. So if I'm going to say between 0 and 44 days, not 704, 44 days, again 45 days, I'm going to format that and give it another color. Well, I'll just pick a blue, say OK, and then apply that. So anything that's between that. Now, I didn't do this earlier, so I'm going to get some blues here for my subtotal lines. I'm okay with that. If I'd done this before I did the subtotaling, I'd have a little clearer image there of that. So still my range there. So I'm going to come back to here and say new rule, and I want cells that contain only, and what do I want these to be? So I'm going to say between 45 and let's say it's 90. Format my color again. This one maybe I'll make a green or something like that and say OK. So there I get those. Now maybe I want a last one, and this is again, I'm just showing you some concepts. You apply what makes sense to you. And let's say that is over, greater than or equal to, and let's say I want it to be 95, 91 days. Okay, format that color, and maybe I'll go something, I'm going to go more colors, and maybe I'll pick another pink, but different pink, and say OK. And say OK there. So now I can see those invoice ages. Now I can look at this and say, oh, you know, I got some problems here. I'm going to collapse that data set down so you can see that coloring, when it collapses it, doesn't do anything because this is finding those zeros. Okay, so keep that expanded. So that's how we run this report and analyze it. So I would go through this report, look for all the account items, on account items. Again, I'll collapse that to see it better. And I'll go into these accounts and clear them. Now this is on account, and there's no, this is money on account and it's a credit, so I'm going to say, oh, why do I have $100 on the account there? Something needs to be invoiced, so I might alert my service team or send it to my service team and tell them how to focus it. There's some columns here that I ignored, but there are some policy columns over there for rep and executive, so you could filter this out and send it to the rep or exec on these things. Say, hey, focus on these. First, I would clean up the zero balances, money on account, and all that stuff that need to be moved between pieces. I'm not going to show you how to do those today. It's a different topic, but I want to keep this concise to this. This is how you use the report. You look at the on account money, deal with it. You look at the zero balances, deal with it, which is usually a dollar, something that's got to be moved between an on account and invoice or a credit invoice to a charge invoice. I look at the invoice age to find old things. I look at my balances that are over $5,000, $500, whatever your threshold is, and then kind of apply that logic. Each agency is a little unique to that logic about how they do things. Like here's one that's 75 days, and I use the invoice age because that's the day it was posted, the day it was invoiced, not the effective age. Sometimes the effective age matters, but you'll find in commercial lines and audits, the effective age might be older than the invoice age. If somebody just got invoiced this yesterday, I'm going to ignore it on here normally. There are exceptions to that, but normally. So that's the concept of this. Hope this helps you out. Now let's go back to AMS360. That was the classic version. And I'm going to go to my agency reports, and depending on your version, toolbox, come down here, my agency reports, or the lightning bolt here, my agency reports. I already have it open. Come over here to Customer Aged AR. In both cases, if you're not seeing this report, that means you're not credentialed for it. Talk to your admin. I'm going to tell it to run that same report. I'm going to leave it all alone. Run the report. It takes a few moments. There it is. Now I could go in here in the summary and do things on it. I want to open an Excel. Now in my case, it opened up here. I'm only capturing a portion of my screen. I want to open it. Again, I've cleared out some data here, so it looks a little funky, but that's, you know, just to protect privacy. What I want you to see here is it still has the customer number, Still use the same formatting rules, and it still has all the same information, just a little bit different order. So here's the invoice number, here's the policy number. Policy number is where I get the on accounts, and the balances are right there too. There we go. So scrolling over, the balance and invoice age and all that are over here. They're just in different columns, but the same data is there. So it's the same thing. Whether you use Classic or you use My Agency Reports, up to you. My Agency Reports is the future. Classic is the current and the past. But I just wanted you to see it in both places. I'm not going to do all the formatting here. It's the same concepts, just the columns are a little bit differently. So that's it. Thanks a lot.
Hi there, thank you for watching that video. Hope it was informative for you. Just a reminder, please go to my webpage, ins-automation.com, and check out the other resources there, including if you're not a member of this newsletter already, where this originally came from, you can click on the newsletter, sign up there, and take you there. If you hit the contact over here, it'll allow you to send a message to me or book a consultation meeting, a complimentary consultation meeting. As well, you can go to YouTube and search for Insurance Agency Automation Associates. You'll see that little Rubik's Cube type thing. If you can, and you'll see my other videos here. There's about 20 or so of them here. I'll open that up a bit broader. There's a bunch of videos here about AMS360 features and tools. If you do come here, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. And then once you hit subscribe, be sure to say notifications all. So that way, anytime I release a new video, you'll get a notification. Thank you again. Have a great day.